Hello, everyone. This is Dana from NexGen on this fabulous Freedom Fitness Friday. Welcome to week 16 of my fitness journey, 4 months down. I have a question for you. Are you worth your salt? I used to hear that question growing up in a military family in the military environment. The expression to be worth one's salt means you're competent and deserve what you're earning. It's most often said that it came from ancient Rome, where the soldiers were sometimes paid in salt or given an allowance to purchase it. Now you say, well, what's important about salt? Well, before the days of artificial refrigeration, the main method for preserving food was to treat it with salt. In this way, salt came to represent power. Without it, armies could not travel great distances and explorers could not sail to new lands because their foods and their provisions would spoil. Now, throughout the ages, a variety of cultures use this mineral in ceremonies and religious rituals. For many centuries, until salt deposits were discovered throughout the world and the way to get it was improved, salt at that time was scarce, and that made it more valuable. Now, I bring up salt because my primary physician strongly suggested that I reduce my my daily sodium intake to 1,500 milligrams. Now, in my previous discussions, my sodium goal remained unchanged no matter how much I exercised or how much I exercise. Now, as I said before, the protein, the fat, and the carbohydrates and the sugar changed, but not the sodium. Now, notice I said sodium instead of salt. Now, some people may think that salt and sodium are the same thing, but they're not. This is a common misconception that confuses people, and there are some big differences that can affect the quality of my diet. Now, here's a clear way to distinguish between sodium and salt. Sodium is what's found in food, especially in processed foods containing preservatives. Remember, they were to preserve the food? Salt is what we add to our food. Sodium is expensive, salt is not. Ideally, we want foods that are not processed because the more time it's handled, the more sodium that gets added along the way. Salt is a chemical compound that's made up of sodium and chloride. And actually, it's the sodium that is really detrimental to our health. And what's really interesting, it's the chloride that gives food that salty taste. Too much sodium has been linked to high blood pressure. I remember eating certain foods and getting a headache. My daily allowance is 1,500 milligrams of sodium. Just to give you an example of how that sodium can actually creep up on you, a 440 calorie breakfast sandwich could have as much as 1,400 milligrams of sodium. A 150 calorie latte has 115 milligrams of sodium. A 230 calorie Caesar salad for lunch could have as much as 980 milligrams of sodium. Now, if I go out to my favorite restaurant, I can rack up at least 3,300 milligrams of sodium. Now, since I started paying attention to my sodium intake and changing my eating and drinking habits, I don't have the headaches anymore, and my blood pressure is now controlled. Now, even though too much sodium causes problems, eating too little can be just as unhealthy, but I'll be discussing that in another video. Thank you for watching this video and taking this journey with me. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.